Hi there. In this video, I want to show you how you can use a cloud folder or a shared folder, something like OneDrive, Dropbox, any of those, with SketchUp and basically synchronize content across computers. If you got a work computer and a home computer, or maybe even distribute stuff across an office or something like that. So let's take a look in a minute how you can set this up. Don't forget to check out my book, Architectural Design with SketchUp. It covers all of these topics and makes for a great desk reference. You can find it where books are sold. There's also a link to it on my site, sketchupfordesign.com, together with lots of additional tutorials and news. All right, let's get started. So the first thing you are obviously going to need is an account with some kind of a sharing service, like OneDrive, Dropbox, Google Drive should work as well. Some are a little bit more integrated than others into your operating system, but ultimately what you're going to need, I'm going to just pull up this on mine here. So what you're going to need is a local folder that's synchronized to the cloud. And I'm not 100% sure how the technical side works on this here, but sometimes it's actually a virtual folder rather than a local folder. But as long as your computer sees it as a local folder, it should be fine. So in my case here, you'll see I've got my OneDrive set up and I have my account set up. And then in that account, I made a SketchUp folder because I got a few other things in there. And in there, I have a plugins folder. And what I want to show you right now applies to plugins or extensions. But actually, the folder is still called plugins folder because those used to be called plugins years ago. And for backward compatibility, that folder has never changed. And so that's why that word appears there, basically. Okay, so you're going to need that set up somehow. And I'll leave it up to you to figure out which service you want to use, how you want to set this up, and how you can then basically synchronize some extensions across multiple computers. And the idea here is, of course, that you offload some extensions to Cloud Drive, and then you have a work computer and a home computer or something like this, and you load those from each one of those with a tiny little script that you install on both of them. And everything should work fine. There's a little caveat that you need to be aware of, which is, some of these with licensing might be rather tied to a particular computer and they won't work this way. Others may be a little iffy if they rely on other things, other extensions or something like this. So this is a little, a bit of a workaround, but in some cases it works well. So what I've been using it for, and you can see this right here, is for developing my own extensions. Right here is my folder with all my extensions, the source files, and I basically have them in the cloud. And I load them from both of my computers. So that works fairly well. But then again, my extensions are fairly simple in terms of their setup. There's no licensing required. So that's why that works in any case. Anyways, so just keep that caveat in mind. Oh, and then by the way, I've posted about this on my website, sketchupfordesign.com. If you go right there and dig into the tutorials, you'll find this one here where I have the write-up, and I actually have this little bit of source code in there as well. And I have the caveat right at the end. So feel free to read up on that as well. Okay, so how does this work? Let me move this over a little bit. Like I said, first thing you need is that the cloud location. We need that figured out. Now, what we're going to want to do is we want to go into our local computer, and we need to find the extensions folder. And that one is in a predictable location. Let me pull it up this way. For Windows and for Macs differently, obviously, but it's always in the same kind of pattern location. All right, so up here on top you see the Windows location. That's under C, users. Then there's your username, whichever one you use. App data. And with app data, you got to be a little careful. That is, I believe, a hidden folder. So in, go right here. If you're in your view, you need to, sorry, in your File Explorer, you need to make sure somewhere here, hidden items is checked so that you can actually see that folder. You can type it into, and it'll get you there, up here in the location bar, but that is how you can see that. Anyways, then let's go here. So app data, roaming, SketchUp, and then it'll say the version, SketchUp 2023 or whatever it is, and then SketchUp again, and then plugins, because down here there's also a layout in there. So keep that in mind. That's how you find those that main extension folder on your local computer. And then if you're on a Mac, it should look like this here. I don't have a Mac, so I can't verify this, but basically library, application support. And again, the version number shows up in the next level, and then SketchUp, and then plugins. So that should get you to here. All right, so now this looks fairly similar, but you see up here, this is the last little bit of that path that I just showed you. And then in there, you have all your extensions that are installed. And again, this is a little bit more for the advanced user. Everybody else is perfectly fine working with extensions, extension manager. That's a really nice interface, and you can work and modify extensions that way. So keep using that unless you know what you're doing. But basically, if you're an advanced user and you want to, use this approach, you got to go in here, and you're gonna need to install. Well, you don't have to install it. You just copy and paste a file in there. It's right here. It's this one that says load from shared.rb, and RB is for Ruby. And also here, if you can't see the RB on your system, you got to go View, Show, File Name Extensions, and it'll show you the file name extensions, but it'll also say Ruby source file over here. So that's the file you're going to need to put into your local computer folder. And this is the file actually that you're also going to paste basically into all computers that you want to load from this cloud drive from. And again, this cloud folder that I have here on my second tab needs to be synchronized with all of those computers, because you're synchronizing files and then you're loading those synchronized files. That's basically how this works. All right. Okay, so now you know where the load from shared file goes. And now let's take a quick look at what that looks like. And I have it right here. There you go. So that's the source. It's just a few lines, nothing fancy. It's actually more commenting in here than anything else. And I haven't titled it right here. But this is all you need. So your standard requires SketchUp so that the environment is loaded. You can ignore my feedback lines here. You can actually delete them. They're not needed. All you're going to need is this bit here. So right there, you're going to need to paste your shared folder location, or the cloud folder location, and basically the local copy of that one. So like I said earlier, mine is OneDrive, so that's how mine looks like. Yours might be in a different location, so you got to track that down and find out what your location is. Anyways, so you adjust this one, paste yours in here, and then the code just basically just cleans up this directory, puts it into this location variable, and then requires every single Ruby file that it finds at that location. And that's all it does. It just basically loads every single file it finds in that location. And then in principle, when SketchUp starts, let me go back to this here, you'll see what it would do. It would basically go through your entire list of installed extensions and load them. But since we got another file in here, it'll also read that code in that file and execute it, and basically loads the extensions that you have in your shared location. That's all. That's happening. And all of that is happening when SketchUp starts. So this is not an on-demand solution. This is basically one that goes as soon as SketchUp starts right here. So then, of course, you may want to go ahead and clean up your local extensions folder. Again, this is my local folder right here. So if I wanted to offload something now, which one are we going to do? Andreas, I'll take yours. So there's an extension here, the Console Plus, I think it's called, or something like this. In any case, if I wanted to offload that onto my shared location, I'd have to pick two things. One is a folder, and the other one is right here, a file. So every single extension in your local, plugins/extension folder consists of two things: a loader file, this one here, in the main plugins directory, and then a subfolder which can contain all kinds of things. So those two you're going to need to copy out of here, and you can move them out of here now, and paste them into your shared location right there. Because now, when SketchUp starts, it will find your load from shared and will load that extension from your shared location. And that's all you need to do. So that's one way to clean things up. And one benefit that you get from this is when there's a new SketchUp version coming out, all I do is basically take my load from shared file from one version, and I paste it into this folder for the next version, and all of my online hosted, or basically cloud hosted extensions load. Doesn't mean that they're all going to work, but but they will load at least. So that's one way you can use this. And then again, if you have multiple computers, or if you have an office where everybody needs to kind of share the same extensions, and you want to kind of install them all very quickly, you can bypass the proper extension installation routine by loading them from a shared folder. Again, it's a little hackish, it's a little workaroundish, but in some cases this might work well. Now let me show you one more thing. There is an extension for this if you're not comfortable getting your hands dirty with code. You can look for my Ruby extension loader extension, and that one has somewhat similar functionality. So you can basically offload all of those extensions that you just saw onto a shared folder. You can then use this menu item here, load all Ruby files extension from a shared directory, or from a directory, any directory actually, it doesn't have to be a shared one. And on demand, as soon as I execute this, it'll basically ask me for it. I'm just going to click this away. But on demand, you can then load everything that's in a folder somewhere. Or if you just want to, oops, wrong one. If you just want to load a single extension, then you can do it this way here, load single Ruby file extension. And you can load them on demand as well. So that's another way you can do that. You can actually set the additional load path, similar to what we just did, using this extension too. So that's a little bit more of a proper menu type solution. But in some cases, it's just easier to write a little bit of Ruby code and be done with it. Yeah, anyways, so that's the basic functionality for this. It may solve some of your problems, make life easier. Let me know if you find another approach that this is useful for. But actually, let me pull up the code here again. There's the code. And I hope this is useful. Good luck with this. Enjoy, and I'll see you all soon.